action. What's up, people? Welcome to a brand new MMA Roasted Podcast. It's me, Adam Hunter. I'm here with Greg Romero Wilson, Weendawg, waiting for CB Gold to come in. We got the OG crew is back. It's going to be a great show. We got James Vick is going to be stopping by, as well as Johnny Case, two badass fighters, two underrated fighters too. Especially, I don't know if James Vick's still fighting. We'll ask him about that. But Johnny Case is a guy who's like, he's right there. He's easily a UFC caliber fighter. He fought in the UFC. He's had a couple bad breaks, but I think he lost like a split decision to Rocco or something, or maybe it was a unanimous. But great fighter. CB's here. Excited about that. I want to thank Speedweed. Marijuana is legal in California. Make sure that you get it delivered right to you at speedweed.com. Don't leave your house during the pandemic. The numbers are going up. Okay. Whether you believe it or not, the numbers are going up. Whether you believe why, it's a whole different debate for a whole different podcast. But definitely, that's the thing, man. Like, people are like, what do you wear? Everyone's like wearing a mask. Other people are like, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm going to wear a mask at the very least just to not piss people off. Mm-hmm. Just to not cause a problem. Definitely going to err on the safe side. But also, if it's making someone else feel uncomfortable, wear the fucking mask. Now, granted, when I walk my dog and there's nobody on the block, I'll take the mask off. I'm not gonna wear a mask if no one's around, like the entire block. But if you're going somewhere where there's people around, wear a mask. Just don't be difficult. Everybody wants to be difficult. Not everybody, but some people. People at least I'm watching on like World Star. Anyway, so Greg, I can't see you. Is Greg Romero here?
Might have closed the app.
All right, so Greg left. I guess he's wearing a mask for the whole show on his thing. CB, how are you?
Good, man. No complaints.
Yeah, Weendawg, how are you? There he is.
I'm great, dude. I've been back up on my YouTube channel. I changed the name to the Joe Perez Show. I'm doing like weekly videos where I talk about news, politics. You can probably get an understanding of where my political opinions lie. But if you want to, go check it out. Maybe I'll get a kick out of it. I'm getting some good views. I got 185 views on my last video, so things are looking fairly positive.
That's what I'm talking about. So I got a crazy story. So I took my daughter to the park last week. Greg, the park that we went to with the turtle.
Yeah. Kenneth Hahn, the turtle. Look, Greg, turtles.
Yes.
Look, there's a duck. There's a duck and turtles.
Which I don't see that many turtles everywhere. So I wanted to point out that there were turtles and ducks and koi fish. Meanwhile,
I'm 48 years old. I've seen the fucking turtles.
Meanwhile, there's like a lake where there's all kinds of koi fish, and another huge lake where you're fishing. The koi fish lake literally signs everywhere saying "Do not fish." Of course, some two idiots have their fishing rods there, and I'm like, "Are you guys really gonna fish here?" And then I walked away. I became like the Karen of the park, but I don't care because it's like just fish where you could actually. I mean, you could literally put your hand in there and grab a fish. Like at least they have some talent. Right. But anyway, so I'm with my daughter. And we're out there, and this little bunny comes, and this bunny's hopping around, little white little bunny. And I'm like, okay, be careful. It's a wild rabbit. Maybe it'll bite or anything. The thing comes right up to my foot and just sits on my sneaker. I'm like, and then these little kids come over and start petting it. So I realized this was not a wild bunny. Somebody left this bunny here to, they had too many pets, maybe too many bunnies. Right. So I'm like, all right, now I got to take home the bunny. So now we have a bunny, part of our family. We have 3 cats, a dog, and a bunny. And the bunny's awesome.
It just keeps growing on accident.
I think it's a girl. My wife's like, we bring it home. My wife loves rabbits. She used to have a rabbit as a kid. And she's like, so we go to the Petco, we get the cage and the hay and the thing. And we get all the, we spend like $500 worth of pets. And then I go, is it a boy or a girl? She's like, I don't know. Blow on its groin area, not like blow it, but like blow so the fur moves. I'm like, I don't know the bunny that well. It's had a rough day. I'm not about to blow on.
Not today. Maybe later this week.
So now the bunny, my dog is blind. The bunny literally like hops on him. He doesn't know what's going on. And the cats, we're worried about the cats eating the bunny, right? Because it's a new thing. So my cat comes over. They go nose to nose, and my cat runs away. The thing is like this big. It's a baby. It's like a month old. This baby bunny is now running the house. So that's the I don't know. That's the wild times here.
That's cool.
At the Hunter residence. How was your week, Greg?
You know, it was. I tried to. Here's what happens when I try to get healthy. I got up Sunday morning, and Sunday for me, I'm gonna eat whatever the fuck I want on Sunday. So I thought, you know what? Today I'm gonna go for a bike ride first, try and get my energy up, at least burn a few calories before I then go crazy. And so I went for a lot. It was cloudy, it was cool. I rode, went for a bike ride, whatever. I don't know how far I go. I don't know. I was out there about 45 minutes. And I come back, and I ride my bike quite frequently these days, because it's been nice. And so I come inside, and I do the thing that I always do, which is I have to lift the bike and carry it up a flight of stairs to my apartment. And I did nothing differently than anything else. But somehow, when I put that bike down, my back was like,
you have back.
And I just went, and just like, I locked up. It was the worst, and I didn't do anything. It's not like it was like it got away from me for a second, and I pulled or stretched it. Like nothing. All I did was just set it back down.
So how'd you fix your back? Did you?
Well, luckily, it's so funny because Sunday coincidentally was the first day that the massage parlors were back open, and actually I had scheduled massages for both Summer and I for Sunday morning at 11:15. So I went and got a massage, which it may have made it worse. I don't know.
Yeah, I went to a chiropractor who was a comedian one time who fucked up my back 10 times. Never go to anything who's a part-time comedian. Anybody who says he's a part-time comic, doctor, fireman, police officer.
It means they don't really want to be where they are right now.
Yeah, really fucked up my back that time.
Could you imagine a lawyer comedian who's going to try and negotiate with you to laugh?
I've seen a couple of lawyer comics. And
there's a bunch of lawyer comics. Dimitri Martin was a lawyer. Vince August became a judge. He was a lawyer. There's lots of former. Greg Giraldo was a lawyer. There's a lot of former lawyers.
Really?
Yeah, but most of them suck. And all I could think about is imagine hiring a lawyer to actually, do your case. And then at night you go to a comedy club, and you see a guy bombing on stage with the most. I'm like, that must have been like. I know so many lawyers that were terrible because they just started comedy. They were terrible at the beginning. Almost every comic's gonna be terrible at the beginning.
Now, remember in New York though, the worst ones in New York were the guys from the stock market guys.
Oh
who
yeah.
Thought they were real funny, and decided they were like Sal Governelli. So Sal, the stockbroker on Howard Stern.
Yeah.
He used to try to go out and do stand-up shows. And it was disastrous every time. But there was one guy, I remember this one guy, he was like a day trader, and he really thought Suck My NASDAQ was genius. So much so that before his first set, he printed like 10,000 t-shirts that said Suck My NASDAQ, and that was going to be his catchphrase as the day trader comic. I'm pretty sure somebody still has about 9,998 of those fucking t-shirts.
I knew a guy who had a dildo. He was a day trader, and he'd come out with a dildo. He'd hold it by his crotch and go, "I'm very excited to be here." That was like his opening.
Greg, I feel like you should buy like 100 cymbals from Guitar Center.
There's some murders when you're high on coke or for the day traders.
Dude, one of my first gigs ever, I opened up for this magician. We were like going down in the South, like to like West Virginia.
Man, you guys all froze on my end.
It was my first road gig ever, and it was a magician I opened for, and we do this all black room. And he whips out this like black life-size puppet named Sonny, and it was all black. It was the most racist shit I've ever seen in my entire life. I was ready to. I was like, I'm going back home. This guy's gonna get lynched. This is fucking terrible. This guy's gonna get killed by this fucking crowd right now. So yeah, it was terrible.
One time I was showcasing for a club. I was showcasing for and which you want to just do your best set when you're showcasing for a club. But during the first show, there were these lesbians in the audience that I was just kind of having fun with and making fun with. And they were awesome and hilarious. So then between shows, we're drinking and we're laughing, and one of the lesbians keeps rubbing her like leg up against mine. And I realized it feels like there's a dick in her pants. And I realized that that's what she's doing. I'm like, do you have a fucking dick in your pants? And she goes, and she unzips her pants and she had a dildo in her fucking pants. I'm like, you're fucking out of your mind. You wore the dildo to the comedy club? So then I'm like, then they're like, Greg, you're going on for the second show. And I'm like, to do my little featured guest spot I was doing to showcase. And I'm like, oh, you got to come back in with me. And so in my mind, I thought it was genius. I was going to bring her back on stage. I brought her back on stage and had her whip out the dildo.
Oh, my
Thinking
God.
the audience was going to go wild. And the exact opposite happened. Everyone was like, what the fuck? And
what people don't realize.
Weird
like,
and awful.
I'm like 20-something years in the game. I think so many of these comics that are getting called out or Me Too'd or whatever, they didn't have to go through all the fucking shit that we went through. So they don't appreciate what they have when they get there. So many comics get success early and they don't, man, like for example, my first year into comedy, I was literally plunging toilets to New York Comedy Club to do a spot on the midnight show on the Puerto Rican show, only white comic, in this small room. And the crowd hated me and I sucked. But that was like my pay for plunging in toilets was a spot with a bomb. And I remember this comic goes on and he's wasted and he won't get off. And the guy hosting goes, you won't get off. So they're like, just go grab the mic from him. So he goes up to grab the mic from him while the guy's on stage. The comic lets go. Then the host hits himself with the microphone, right? He thinks he got punched. So he punches the comic. They start fucking like hockey fighting. The whole crowd runs out, going, the comics are fighting each other. Nobody pays the bill. Fucking lights come on. The cops get called. I'm supposed to go next, right? I'm like, fuck, I'm not going on.
And now you're next to me.
But then the comic goes, well, I'll go on, and takes my spot. While the fucking cops are going on, the comic's doing material. Like, that's how fucking shitty. Anyway, BB, how are you doing, man?
I'm good. I literally, as always, have nothing to report. There's not a lot going on, so it's
welcome to married life, man. Welcome to married life.
So,
I will say I did have to see the chiropractor a few times last few weeks. I didn't do anything, but I woke up with a pinched nerve in my neck, and I couldn't move for like 4 days until the chiropractor turned my head and nose about 180 degrees, and I started feeling better.
So CB Silver, how's life going with you?
I want everybody to know things have been so great for me. I recently built my own octagon in my bathtub. It is pretty amazing. I've submitted my own cock and balls like 3-4 times now. Record times. I said records. My grandfather gave me $30,000 to build a bathtub octagon. And so that's what I've been doing. And that's how I injured my neck. I gave myself an omoplata while in the bathtub.
Impressive.
Congratulations.
That is
all right.
That's right. Down at CB Gold's Golden Gold. Don't even bring that silver shit in here. Classic. I missed the CB Gold.
We haven't reopened yet, Greg. We're not open again yet.
We haven't reopened. Oh, right. Because you got CB's Golden Gold got hurt during the riots. You got looted.
Yeah. They stole all the good graphs.
All right. Well, all right. Let's talk about some of the fights that happened over the weekend. So, Kay Hansen, by the way. So here's a girl who's been on our show 5-6 times. I was a fan of her when she was 18 years old. There was a girl, she had one fight in Invicta, but there was something about her I liked. I mean, first of all, she's like this cute little Southern redneck Trump supporter who lives in Southern California. So, and I guess Orange County is pretty red, huh?
Somewhat.
Yeah, it is very much so. Because they're rich.
Is that what? But she just also had a scholarship to Harvard for softball, passed it up to become a fighter, and she was fighting every week. This girl, and winning some, losing some, but always getting better. I just liked her spirit. Something about her. Her boyfriend seemed really cool. Just the whole thing. So she fights. They call her up in the UFC to fight Jin Yu Frey, who was an Invicta champion. This girl also beautiful. I think she's a rocket scientist or something. Some kind of ridiculous. It was a great fight. And Kay Hansen got the win. So, meanwhile, somebody put $37,000 on Kay Hansen.
Yes.
Which is like, I mean, that's insane. Like, they must have known something. I mean,
That's exactly what I said when they said it in the broadcast. I turned to someone and I go, whoever placed that bet, they know something. They know something about this girl that nobody knows. And then later in the broadcast, they're like, well, yeah, she works out at 10th Planet and she manages one of the 10th Planet. And right then, it reminded me of someone, like you were saying, like working at the club to get your spots. Like she's there all the time. And clearly someone's been watching her going, this girl, if she gets her to the ground, she's going to kill her. And that's what wound up happening.
Well, she was the favorite, but she should not have been the favorite. This is a girl, she got like a 500 record. The other girl was a monster. Now, I got a question about betting. I don't know much about betting, but if someone puts $37,000 on you, do you become the favorite even if you were the underdog? Does that how the wagers work?
I think it can. If there weren't that many wagers on the fight, then I think
yeah, it's not the amount per bet, I don't think. I think it's the amount of bets.
Oh.
I don't think it's the quality of the bet, just the quantity of how many people are going in. But I don't know 100% for sure. I'm sure when this episode gets out, we'll get 97 people that can educate us.
Yeah, because I was like, I can't believe she was even the favorite. So maybe, and Jin Free had a weird tap. It was like the "you got me" tap. It was
totally.
Like,
well, she sat there for a second too, like feeling it. Like, I don't think there's any way. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, it wasn't a painful tap. It was more like, all right, I'm not getting out of this, so why?
Yeah, it was a checkmate tap. It was like, she has me in checkmate. Do I have another move? I don't.
And they also both came up 10 pounds. Because they were fighting in Invicta at 105, which people are now saying the UFC needs a 105. And I'm like, I couldn't even tell you who would start that division.
But I'll tell you, it just goes to show you that, you know, you could have like a lot of losses on your record if you're young, you know, because she's obviously getting astronomically better. At 20 years old, she's got like 4 or 5 losses, but it doesn't matter because her learning curve is so high. You know, it's when you lose 5 or 6 in a row and you're 34 or 35, and people are like, okay, you know, this person maybe kind of spent, but at 20, it's like, fuck it. Right now, it was funny because Keith Peterson was a ref, and I like wrote that he flipped the cigarette. It got 3,000 retweets. Fucking like that was like one of those things like Sean O'Malley retweeted. Like it got 3,000 retweets. That Keith Peterson flipped the cigarette at Dominic Cruz. That was one of those things I just fucking wrote. Like sometimes I'll craft a joke and I'm like, this is the most perfect joke I've ever written. One person likes it who's like doesn't speak English, and I'm like, great, you know. And then I just fucking put something out there, and all of a sudden I'm like 2,200 likes. Like what? But
my favorites are Adam, you're better than this. Come on. And it's like, dude, not everybody's throwing out fucking 14 karat gold every second.
It's funny. It's funny. Yeah,
I just thought that was I saw that one. I laughed out loud. I was laughing. Because we make the joke about Keith Peterson looking like he's fucking just up from days smoking cigarettes and doing meth, and then like, and now he's gonna ref a fight. Like that's just what he looks like.
He looks like he hangs out at like the high school. He looks like the old guy at the high school. Not that he like molests kids, but that guy that never like left the high school but hangs out in the parking lot.
And has a souped up car but a shitty job.
McConaughey and Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, it's Wooderson, but not the cool version.
No, I think he's the best ref in the game.
I don't know. Jason Herzog's pretty good too.
The best ref of all time or right now?
Right now. He's up to like top 3 at least.
Herb Dean's.
I don't know. Have you ever watched that show, Street Beefs on YouTube?
No.
It's basically backyard boxing and backyard MMA in Florida. It's just 2 guys that want to fight each other.
Of course it is.
It's basically like Kimbo Slice 2.0. But they're actually, some of them are actually pretty good fighters. Like some of them, like I'm like, this guy could actually have something here. And some of them did like, they'll be like OG, the guy's like 60 against, and the OG wins somehow. But there was a guy talking shit to the ref, and the ref's like, fuck you, I'll kick your ass too. I'm like, that guy might be the best ref I've ever seen. The ref I don't know. Also, Herb Dean throwing Tanner Bozer off Felipe Lins.
That was dope.
Yeah.
That was impressive. Could you imagine if that was like Kim Winslow back in there? I mean,
I think that was one of the biggest issues was like they did a fight once and it was Kim Winslow. It was the heavyweights. And I'm like, what the fuck is this chick going to do? She's like 115 pounds soaking wet. who are you pushing off? Or like when they put Mazzagatti in there, it's like 150.
Yeah, no.
Pushing guys like Derek Lewis off. I'm like, you're not going to do it. You just have to go up to his ear and go, please get off of him now.
I like that Tanner
No,
Boser.
Herb Dean swung him around pretty fast, though. It was impressive. Even Summer was like, wow, he moved that big guy pretty easily.
People forget that he was a fighter. He was a
right.
You know, but Tanner Boser.
He's also a heavyweight sized dude. I mean, he isn't small in there either.
Boser looked good. It looked like he drove his house to the octagon, and he knocked out when he won. But I give him credit. I'll tell you also, Griffin, when he fought Zalal, I thought Griffin won the first, lost the second, and in this third, Jordan Griffin just was letting the guy punch him in the face. I mean, he put his hands down.
Yeah. He was like, you can't hurt. I mean, he was demonstrating that his punches didn't hurt, but he was also letting him score endlessly. It was so fucking stupid. It's like, you're not going to knock me out. You're going to beat me by a lot of points.
Like, I've never seen a guy just let him punch him in the face. Like, what? That was the weirdest strategy I've ever seen. I'll tell you.
Not a good strategy.
I'll tell you who I felt bad for, because when my wife was pregnant and I went to that strip club with Dan Henderson, by the way, and you haven't lived, he came to my show, Dan Henderson and his wife. He's like, hey, you want to come to my after party with Vellante, and then that girl from that girl trains over at Team Quest, a hot blonde, forgot her name. She's good though. Her, and then Aljamain was there. But you haven't lived till you've seen Dan Henderson give a lap dance to his wife on a party bus. Because that's what was going on. And then I hung out with Gian Vellante the whole night there. Coolest guy ever. Nice guy, humble. You would never know that this guy was like a trained killer. But he looked like he did not train for this fight against Mo Green. I mean,
looked like he purposely didn't train for this fight.
Like when you go up to heavyweight, it's one thing. But when you go up to heavyweight by it looked like he hadn't even what was that? What was he thinking?
Was he one of those last-minute replacements? Because it seemed like this card had a lot of last-minute replacements.
No, CB?
I don't think he was a last-minute replacement, but then again, they're announcing fights now 2 weeks out from the event, so we don't know how long the contract was signed because we didn't know we were coming back.
I mean, his corner yelled out more combos, and he said he'll take a Whopper and fries. I mean, that's
he looked pregnant. Like, he had this, bubble belly.
And he was winning. He was winning, and then he tapped out from top to I
don't like Maurice.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was the thing. That was so funny the way they couldn't figure out why he tapped. They couldn't figure out what kind of a choke was that. And it was a big brother choke is what it was. He just smashed his face into his skin so he couldn't breathe, and he was so desperate for air that he took, no, that was it, you know? There was no technique to it. He big brothered it.
But Vellante is better than that. I mean, he's so much better than that.
He just had no cardio. He had no training. Yeah, he was completely out of shape.
It was that other guy, Maurice Green, when I watched him on The Ultimate Fighter and he was drunk and just being belligerent, it's hard to root for that guy.
I don't like him one bit.
Was he ever a dick to you?
But
no, I've never. He did tough way after all that. I just, the house stuff, and then just, I don't know. I feel like he doesn't really take it as seriously as he should. Now in the interviews, he even said, I dedicated it to it now. I hope he does better, but I think if he fought a real true heavyweight, which he has before, he loses.
Yeah.
I think that's true, because there was points where he was losing that fight. He showed in the first round.
TKO before he got that silly submission.
Yeah, it was, and then he was like, but listen, everybody can change. And I think that's what you saw, because wasn't he a guy that was crying? Was like, I need to move my family. I needed this so bad, and it's like, so that's where he's at now. I mean, we act like we never evolve. I mean, this guy's got kids now. Clearly his life has changed. And this win actually means something to him now, so he can improve his family's life.
Yeah, but 3 days earlier, 3 days earlier, he was drunk at the pool, getting into the fight.
Right. Well, listen. You take the guy out of the pool, but you can't take the pool.
I mean, all right. So then I'll tell you who I was surprised with was Bob Ross, because that guy was on a tear, Violent Bob Ross. And I think he just got confident. I think he just got too confident with his wrestling and grappling and just left his neck out. Which happens. Because I think he beats Kama Worthy. like 9 out of 10 times. But
he was super dominant on the ground. I think Violent Bob Ross could be champion someday. It's just these minor mistakes that he's making. It's just costing him these fights. You know, he was dominating on the ground. You know, doesn't he train with DC and, you know, everybody at AKA, I think?
Yeah. I think that's it. I think he just got, you know, it's hard sometimes. Obviously, we're watching it from the couch, but just one little mistake can change a fight. And a lot of times, like with that, when that happens, like I look at guys like that, like Sarah McMahon, some of the fights she lost, or Michael Johnson, the fights he lost, where they're winning the entire fight and then just do one stupid thing. And it's hard to think that, like, even though they are losses, I almost don't count those as the same kind of losses when you just get dominated for 3 rounds. You know, when the guy's that much better than you, when you're winning the whole fight and then you just fuck up that one time. I mean, look at Chael Sonnen against Anderson Silva. I mean, his stock went up 4,000 times.
That might be the biggest mistake in UFC history right there, right? Or at least among them.
I think people really believed in him after that. People were like, wow, a guy that can dominate Anderson Silva for 4 minutes and 40 seconds is, like, you know, obviously one of the best in the world. So sometimes I think that your stock goes up even though you make those little mistakes. I'll tell you who was the king of that was, like, Melvin Gillard was the king of winning fights and then just doing something stupid. You're just
something dumb to get caught every single time. And the way he was built too, like, he was scary. When he came in the ring, you were like, I don't want to fucking fight this guy. Yeah. And then he would be beating ass, and then he would then do something stupid and get caught every time.
He might be, like, probably, I hate to say, like, because, you know, these guys obviously have the potential that they had. And I hate knocking fighters because it's not, I'm not in the business to judge. Like, there's, like, all these, like, even Bloody Elbow has these things, top 5 biggest busts in MMA. And I'm like, fuck you guys. You know, like, come on. Bust?
Yeah.
They call Sokuju a bust? Like, a guy who made it to the top level? Like, come on. I mean, give me a break. Let's not discredit all the shit. Even like a guy like Ryan Leaf, okay? Ryan Leaf still was, Heisman Trophy winner? I mean, yeah, he made it to the NFL. And he got picked over Peyton Manning, right? Didn't he get picked over Peyton Manning? Wasn't that the big thing? Didn't Ryan Leaf?
I don't remember. He was like the second draft pick of that year. But I mean, he was supposed to be one of those big time stars. But he really was. He is one of the biggest.
All right, maybe it's different in other sports.
He really sucked.
No, but there was a list.
But I hate those fucking lists though, because I just.
No, I know, but there was one this morning even that just named, out of like 5 or 10 names, 2 of the people you just named, which were Michael Johnson and Sarah McMahon, and it wasn't a list of, like, you know, it was like negativity. It was who we don't think it will ever show, like, didn't get to reach their peak in the UFC or something. And I'm like, I could more understand that. Yeah, the biggest busts, like, dude, you made the UFC, you made Pride. You're not a fucking schlub. Like, oh, this guy sucks in the NBA. But he's in the fucking NBA, so shut up.
But also, we have to also remember that so many fighters, especially now with these short notice fights, like, look at Tisha Torres.
Exactly.
I mean, people were writing her off left and right. They were like,
I think you guys are misunderstanding the concept of a bust. The bust is the success versus the hype. There are a lot of people that are unhyped that make it to a professional level, and nobody considers them a bust. These people were expected to excel. And when you know, like that Karate Kid, you know,
Stephen Thompson,
you could call him a giant. Huh? No, not Stephen Thompson. The kid. What?
Sage Northcutt?
Sage. Yeah, Sage Northcutt. Now there's a bust because here he is, supposed to be the big star, and he's supposed to take over. And it's also when you're given all these opportunities too, that other guys have to work their ass off to get. But they're not giving them lose, then you're a bust.
But they're not giving. But they're not giving themselves those. Like Sage Northcutt's not saying I'm the greatest ever. It's like we're giving them that, and then we're saying they're a bust for not reaching the potential that we put on them. You know, so that's also kind of fucked up a little bit. I don't know. I just kind of, it's sort of, to me, it just, maybe I'm just being a softie and I'm a pussy or a snowflake or whatever. I just hate those fucking lists. Maybe because I know the people too. Like, I know Sokuju, and when I see him on that list, I kind of take it personally. I know what he's been through to come over here from Africa to make it, to do what he was, to live in his fucking this, to have nothing, to make it to where he knocked out. Who'd he knocked out? I mean, he knocked out 2 guys, Little Nog, I think, and someone else in like 1 minute, and then because he lost to whoever, I understand it, but I just hate those lists. Anyway, What am I talking about?
Is Sage Northcutt a bust?
Yes.
We don't know yet.
Right.
He's only like 24 years old. Let's see what
Yes.
he's older.
We don't know yet. He's training a team alpha male. He's got better
But right
wrestling.
now, as of right now.
In the UFC, yes, he's a bust.
Yeah, his
If
UFC
he never
career, I
makes
would
it
agree
back,
with that.
It's something, but if he doesn't come back to UFC, then yeah, he's a UFC bust.
He never beat anybody,
No.
I think, ranked in the UFC.
Period.
So based on that, yes. I mean, he lost to Mickey
I
Gall.
mean, not good that he's a bust. I'm just saying I'm glad that we can still say that someone is technically. I mean, you could say that they're a bust. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and then you have those people saying like, oh, they're not upper echelon. I don't know why they're in that position. If anybody tells me after this weekend especially that Dan Hooker is not an upper echelon lightweight, I really want to grab a frying pan and smack him in the face with it.
All right, well, before we get to Dan Hooker, let's talk about Mike Perry.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Mike Perry, look, I did some thinking about this, and like I don't want to have a podcast where I just regurgitate everyone else's opinions, right? What's the point of that? You could listen to anybody. So I was thinking, all right, what's a unique take, and also what do I think about Mike Perry? First of all, Mike Perry is a guy that everyone's going to watch. You know, we all love. Even Bisbing pointed out he has that star quality, whatever that is. But I'm thinking like some people are uncoachable. There's always those people that are uncoachable. And maybe Mike Perry knows that. Maybe he's smarter than everybody else. So he's like, fuck it. I'm uncoachable, and I'm going to prove I don't need a coach. Because he has that I'm going to prove factor, he's then better than he would be had he had a coach. Mike Perry does not like giving anyone money, whether it's the IRS, whether it's coaches, whoever. He doesn't like paying people that he doesn't feel deserved. And, man, Mike Perry has the hardest head probably in MMA. I mean, he's been hurt one time.
Stubborn or taking a punch to it?
Both. The only time he's ever been rocked or hurt was his last fight against that guy that kicked him in the head.
Vicente Luque.
No, not Vicente Luque. It was somebody else. It was the black dude from Texas, undefeated fighter from Texas. I was at the fight, and he just
I'll pull it up.
Ran through Mike Perry. And this guy right here who ran through Mike Perry is a guy that nobody wants to – who is it?
Jeff Neal.
Yeah, Jeff Neal's a guy nobody wants to fight right now.
Nope.
Nobody's talking about him,
nope.
which is also a shame because this dude is a monster.
Oh, man.
Because Mike Perry's a guy that can take – I mean, he had to kick the guy in the head for Perry to be rocked. He's not going out with a punch.
He took 3 rounds of Vicente Luque with a face that looked like mangled ground beef, and kept walking forward.
He also so my thought was like, all right, Mickey Gall will be better on the ground, and Mickey Gall is a guy that went up against not Gary Tonin, the other guy. Who am I thinking about?
Sage Northcutt.
No, the jiu-jitsu guy who beats everybody. The guy. No, he doesn't do MMA yet. People are like, allegedly he does steroids. I don't know. He's a huge guy that like beats everyone in jiu-jitsu.
Was it in the UFC?
No, he does. He's not an MMA fighter. He's just a grappler.
Oh.
People know what I'm talking about.
Gary Tonin.
No, he beat the wrestler recently from Penn State. He beat Bo Nickel again. Anyway, what's name did pretty well against him. Mickey Gall. Mickey Gall is a great grappler.
These are some great descriptions. Yeah, what's his name? Did pretty good against that guy.
I'm trying so hard to find it.
You guys know what I'm talking about. The huge jiu-jitsu star right now who beat the guy that beats who beat the guy who beats everyone with a.
Wait, Gordon Ryan?
Yes, Gordon Ryan.
Okay.
Mickey Gall did good against Gordon Ryan.
I was thinking of a black guy.
That was so not worth the journey.
Yeah, I was never going to guess that.
All right, so my point is that I'm thinking Mickey Gall could take him on the ground. But then I remember that what's his name did a Chael Sonnen thing recently, one of those jiu-jitsu things. I did really well. He did really well.
Like Perry did.
Perry did.
Oh, submission on the ground.
Yeah, Perry's really good on the ground. Like legit.
Yeah, he took him down a few times actually, and it surprised everybody. And listen, I'll tell you what. you know, everybody was saying that it was so stupid for him to, you know, he has no coach. He's coming in with his girlfriend, which your joke about that was very funny about everybody now wants to hire his girlfriend as their coach. But, okay, but in my mind, I mean, if this were a normal world right now where you have access to gyms and coaches and whoever, and you have plenty of time to build up this fight, I would say, yes, this is an insane move. But if it's a quarantine situation and you can't work with anybody else, and this is the one person you've been working with the entire time, then to me, it made perfect sense. She's the only one that knows exactly where he is in his training, you know? I mean, I don't know. I get in this instance, to me, it made perfect sense.
Well, I think the issue also.
Nice.
Well, I think also the issue, Greg, is first of all, his girlfriend looks like she's 15 years old. She's not, but she looks very young. And his ex-girlfriend was his trainer too, who also was like a fighter. So he left her for like a new girlfriend / trainer.
If you heard in the interview, he said that he's been with this girl for like some ridiculous amount of time, and it sounds like he was with her when he was with the last one.
Yeah.
The best part of it, though, was her not knowing where to put the ice so he could.
I felt so
I know,
bad.
she was like dabbing him with the ice.
And he's like, no, higher. And she's like, here. She's like, no, lower. And he's just like moving it.
That's the best. Like she was just dabbing him along with it. I was like, well, someone's got to show where to put the ice.
You didn't get a guy to just hold the ice there, like have him just turn his neck back and just.
You want to pay somebody just to be the ice guy?
You think he's gonna raise her allowance, like for real? I'm kidding, Mike Perry. I'm kidding. But it just. I mean, it was funny because I was so pissed at the UFC though for going to commercial after the first round. I wanted to see what she would say, and they weren't putting the camera there. Like that was the one thing everyone was.
I thought for sure they were gonna do that too. When they went to commercial, I was like, oh, I thought for sure we'd want to see what she does on there. And then the second round, I think they did go, and that's when everyone saw the the ice thing.
I think he told her though after the fight, since he won, she's officially allowed to shop at Forever 21 now.
She had good advice though. She said punch him in the face, and it worked. That he punched her in the face, and I mean,
she's a genius.
I think it seems like that's really all he needs to hear.
It seemed like she's better than Diego Sanchez's coach, right? Who said like, I don't know what that guy was saying. That guy, the cult leader. I mean, it was crazy. It was funny because I was like, does anyone know what she told him after round one? And one of my people on Twitter was like, she said, "Can we go now?"
That's great.
That's hilarious.
I thought that was perfect. I thought that was perfect. Now. Let's talk about, all right, so James Vick is here. Let's talk to him right here. Let's talk about.
Guys, I got to head to work right now.
You're leaving?
Yeah, I got to go.
All right, that's weird. Okay. Take care, brother.
All right, CB.
Guys.
Take it easy, dude.
All right.
See you, dude.
CB Silver, where are you going?
You know, I have a lot of things to do, a lot of money to spend. I'm taking all my graphs, and I'm making one of those large collage graphs. So that's going to be pretty amazing. Yeah.
Time well spent. Well spent. So we got James Vick here. James Vick is an animal, one of the best fighters in the world. Killer. How are you, man?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Good. Are you in Texas now?
Yeah. I'm out in my car in my truck right now because I have some guests over, so I'm out here to do the interview real quick.
Nice. I feel like there's a gun in the car. Is there a gun in the car?
Always. Always.
Let's see the gun.
Do what?
Nothing. Forget it. All right. So now, how has COVID been affected you? How have you been dealing with this?
Honestly, I guess I'm kind of dumb, but it hasn't really affected me much at all. Like I've just kind of lived my life normal. I'm coming off an injury, so I just recently had an injury. But besides that, I've been training. I've been teaching private lessons. I've been hunting and doing my thing. I've literally basically just kept the same schedule I was always on.
I saw you on Instagram. You had like a huge boar. Like you killed a boar. You were holding it up. This thing like it was the size of you. What do you do with it? Do you eat that?
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So me and my friends shot that on Friday, and we hung it up and cleaned it, cut the legs off, cut the back strap off the ribs, and then I just cooked the ribs last night for dinner, actually.
Oh, wow. How did it taste?
Sounds delicious.
Good. So I have a wood pellet grill, and it makes normally wild meat is real. Especially if pigs are kind of tough, they're not as tender as something you buy at the store. But with that wood pellet grill, it really tenderizes the meat pretty well.
You're a real man's man. I mean, you're a fighter, you're a hunter, you have guns, you're like everything. I don't know. I'm just not you. But so
you're from California. It's all right. I understand.
Of course. Hey, now, so by the way, did you watch the Hooker versus Poirier fight?
I did. Very good fight.
Now, were you? I was impressed that Poirier is able to take those shots from Hooker because Hooker hits really hard. Were you surprised?
I was, and I thought that I thought that Hooker would knock him out. I did. I thought he would knock him out within the first few rounds. So I was surprised he took them, and some of them weren't, I guess, as flush. You know, they weren't landing quite as solid. But you know, Dustin Poirier showed time and time again that he's a dog, and he's gonna stay and fight as long as he's big. You know, as long as he don't get knocked out, he's gonna stay and keep fighting.
Yeah. No, I was shocked because I was like, man, there's no way Poirier's been knocked out by Michael Johnson, by Conor McGregor. Hooker hits him just as hard. It seems like his chin's gotten better over the years, Poirier.
Yeah, man, it's just a game of inches, man. It's really where you get hit and when you get hit. You know, like the thing, what on the opposite of that, watching Dan Hooker take those shots, he's known to have a good chin and everything. But if you watch him, he gets hit. He does get hit flush, but his chin is tucked when he's hit. Even when his hands are down, his chin's not really up in the air. He does a good job of even a guy who fights with his hands down. Sometimes he does keep his chin decently tucked. So when he takes it, it's not the same as when you take it in the air. You know.
So we have another fighter joining us as well. It's gonna be a great podcast. We have Johnny Case. You guys know each other?
Not officially, but we were actually supposed to fight at one point.
Yes.
Years ago.
Well, hopefully there's no beef here.
No, we're good.
Go for it! Go! Ding ding!
we got because we had you for 12:15 and then you had late, so Johnny Case. But it's gonna be. I want to talk to both you guys. Johnny Case right here is a UFC rising PFL fighter. You guys fought in everything. Are you back in the PFL? Is that what I'm hearing?
I am. Yep, I signed the contract with PFL. Unfortunately, this year's season was canceled due to the COVID. But, yeah, I still have my contract with them and looking forward to 2021.
Nice. Now, are they taking care of you this year at least?
Yeah, they're doing what they can for sure. I mean, to be taking care of us would just, be able to get us some fights. But that's kind of like unforeseen right now. They're kind of working on it, maybe getting like 1 or 2 fight cards for the year. So we're able to like get some income there. But yeah, nothing's promised as of yet. So
got it. So Vic, are you so you're not retired?
Hell no.
Okay.
Definitely.
Now, do you miss? I mean, because you've been out for
you better not retire, dude.
Hell no.
You got a lot of fights to win.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, your last fight, you had Nico Price hurt. You were ready. I mean, you had him fucking rocked. It was just a matter of you got a little too excited, right?
Man, it's just I mean, fuck. I don't even know how to explain it, man. It's depressing getting caught with that such a low percentage move. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why that's only happened 2 times in UFC history. And I'm one of the fucking dumbasses that got caught with it, So that's pretty fucking embarrassing. But yeah, I mean, I guess shit happens. What can you say? It took me a while to get over that one. I will say that, just because I felt like it was a good matchup. I felt like I was doing good, and I felt like I went and worked on a lot of the technical issues that I had problems with, and then I didn't get to show any of it.
Dude, nothing you've done ever is embarrassing, bro. You had so many great fights. And look, there was a time that this like hot stripper wanted to bang one time, and I couldn't believe it. So I put my dick in her and came in 3 seconds. Sometimes you just get excited, you just get excited, and then she was disappointed. There was no coming back. So it happens, man.
Hey, at least freaking 5 million people on national TV didn't get to see that.
Hey, be like that sometimes, you know?
That's a good point, but I'm just saying, like, sometimes you're like, oh shit, I got it, and then, but it's all right, man. It's all right. I like look at your life. You got a beautiful girl. You got a great kid, and like finally, and you got some rest, right? You got some rest and recovery.
Yeah, I have. Just been spending time with my kid a lot. You know, I really feel like that's part of my problem too. Is my kid has fucking made me soft, man. It's like I'm serious, dude. I don't see how these guys do it with kids. Like I feel like he's. I mean, I love my son more than anything in the world. I feel like he's turned me into a pussy, man. It's fucking rough, man. I'm dead serious, dude. I'm dead serious.
Now, Johnny Case, you have a beautiful girl, Emily Whitmere, who's also a fighter. Now, her last fight, I heard she was gonna make weight. She had to go lose some weight, and there was a pigeon in the parking lot that was sick, and she went and was like, "Oh, pigeon's sick," and spent hours nursing this pigeon and missed weight. Is that what happened?
Kind of. The pigeon story is true. We were cutting weight the night before. There was a pigeon with a hurt wing, and she insisted that we go home, get a shoebox, and then take it into the animal shelter to get patched up. So that's true.
Okay.
As far as missing weight, though, so Emily was sick 2 weeks before the fight, like really sick, and that like her weight ended up being really low because of that. And so she was thinking like, oh, it's going to be an easy cut. No big deal, you know? And then she started cutting weight, and she was like 3 or 4 pounds out, and her body was just like done. So what had happened was when she got sick, her body was already so depleted. And then she started cutting the weight, and her body just couldn't do it anymore. Even though her weight was low, her body just stopped cutting weight. So
got it.
Just a shitty situation altogether.
Now you're a guy. I looked at, like, you've won 6 out of your last 7 fights. Your last draw was against Nathan Schulte, who won $1 million twice at the PFL. And I thought you won that fight. You're right there. Your fight in Ryzen. What was that like fighting in Japan?
Oh man, Japan is fucking awesome. You know, the fans are the best fans like in the world. You know, they're so educated. Like we're revered like rock stars over there. You know, like you go over there and everybody's got gifts for you. Everybody's just super happy to meet you and want to take a picture with you. And then, you know, on top of that, also like fighting that rule set, you know, where there's soccer kicks to the head and stomps on the ground and knees to the head of the ground. It just fucking invigorated my career all over again. You know, it was like a dream come true. You know, what fighter, you know, who would watch Pride and watch all that and you know, everybody wants to fight that rule set. Everybody wants to fight over there, and I was just really fortunate that I got to.
Yeah, it sounds amazing on New Year's Eve. All right, so let's talk about some fight picks with James Vick and Johnny Case. So
I love it.
Usman versus Burns. Who's gonna win this fight? James Vick.
You said Usman versus Burns?
Yep.
I like Usman. I think that the striking. Now, obviously, they train together a lot, so maybe the wrestling. Maybe Usman's wrestling can be nullified somewhat just from experience of actually training with him. But I feel like the striking can cancel each other out. And I feel like if Usman gets on top, as good as Gilbert Burns is on the ground, he's a top game guy. He's not a guard puller. His style is not Damian Maya, submit people from the bottom. He submits people from the top. And I feel like Usman, especially if they go to the ground, Usman can stall them out and just not get submitted and win a decision.
Johnny Case?
You know what? I think I like Burns in this one. I think Burns has been on a hot streak. You know, I've kind of had interactions with Burns, and I kind of want him to win. So clearly, more of a biased kind of opinion. So obviously, they're both fucking awesome fighters. So I just hope it's a good fight.
Do you think that possibly he could do that submission that Maurice Green pulled off from the bottom?
Again, that's going to be tough against Usman.
The headlock, whatever that was. All right, that's Max Holloway versus Volkanovski 2. James Vick, who wins this?
I got Holloway. I think that the calf kicks really cost Holloway in that fight, and I think that he tried to switch southpaw after he got hurt with it, and he did a decent job of being competitive, but he didn't have enough in the arsenal to actually win the fight from the southpaw stance. And I think this time he's going to possibly even come out as a southpaw for the first round or two, and then make sure, because Volkanovski is going to throw the calf kick over and over. And the thing is a game changer in this sport. And I think that Holloway can avoid it enough to win the decision.
Johnny Case?
Yeah, does anyone else feel like the calf kick got a lot more popular after that fight?
Vincent Henderson's been calf kicking the shit out of me for years, so I don't know.
You know why I think Ben Henderson's calf kick wasn't as effective as what we're seeing now is because he's a southpaw, and so he throws it from the opposite stance. You know what I mean? If he fought another southpaw and it was the same stance, he would fuck their leg up. That's how Wonder Boy does such a good job of avoiding it. He just constantly switches stances, and he takes some, but he doesn't take as many. You know, where it completely shuts his offense down. Just by being able to avoid by being able to have offense for both stances.
Johnny Case, who do you like in this one? Holloway or Volkanovski?
I think I'm gonna go with Holloway. I think Max has got the right tools. He just didn't have the right tactics last time because, like you said, his leg got taken away from him, and he wasn't able to fight the fight that he needed to win. I think he's going to make the adjustments this fight and come back, and he's going to show everybody the true champion that he is.
Now, Rose Namajunas is taking on Jessica Andrade, rematch. First one, Rose is doing great. Then she got slammed on her head, and it was crazy. Who do we like in this rematch? Vick.
I like Rose. You know, and I don't mean to discredit Andrade, not at all. She's phenomenal. She's beat so many people. But in MMA, the best fighter don't always win. The best fighter don't always win in MMA. You fight with little gloves, things happen. And I think from what I saw, Rose was the better fighter and just got caught. She didn't just win the first 2 rounds. She like dominantly won them. It was pretty one-sided. So I'm going to go with Rose.
Case?
I got Thug Rose too. Yeah, I think she's I don't know. I just really like her. I think she's a better fighter, and you get slammed on your head. There's not a whole lot you can do sometimes. So I think the rematch, Rose walks away.
Peter Yan versus Aldo. I don't even understand this fight.
Jesus. Yeah.
I like Jose Aldo. I just feel like if they want to give him a retirement fight, give him somebody that he's gonna win. Like,
right?
Why give him this guy, right? I mean, if you want to give him somebody like no offense to Diego Sanchez, but somebody like that, where it's like a high-level guy and he's still gonna win. But in this one, who do we like, James Vick?
I like Aldo. I mean, I think stylistically it's a fucking good matchup for him, man. I do. I like Aldo. He's quite a bit bigger naturally. He's fought bigger guys. The one thing Aldo doesn't have to deal with that a lot of people moving down would have to deal with would be a speed disadvantage because Aldo's so fast. Most people moving down in weight like that usually have a speed disadvantage. Just like if you move up, you have a strength disadvantage. But Aldo doesn't have that. He's strong as hell. He's a great striker. He's bigger, fought way better people. I still like Aldo.
Case?
I got to go with Peter Yan, man. I think he's a young, hungry kid, and that kid can fucking fight, you know. I watched this fight with Faber. I was there live, and I was really impressed with that kid. So I think Peter Yan takes the fight.
Faber was talking shit, too, and I was like, oh, no. It was like, that's the worst when someone talks shit and they get caught. I'm like, oh. That ever happened with you guys, James Vick? You ever talking shit to somebody and you get caught?
Yeah, it was a fucking rough one. Hey, 2 years later, I'm still fucking every day on social media. Someone talks shit and calls me Homer Simpson.
Oh God.
See, when I see this Peter Yan fight, to me, they're trying to build his brand by having him fight somebody he should beat that has a name people recognize.
Yeah.
So he goes from being this guy nobody knows to the guy that beat Jose Aldo, you know? And so to me, it's just the UFC building his name up.
That's but I've seen that not work though, and that's so.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's the other thing. It kind of proves whether or not they deserve to be there too.
Like that didn't work with Cub Swanson and Chrome Gracie. That was one of my favorite ones where they're like, all right, we're gonna put the Cub as a sacrificial lamb, and Cub just fucked them up, and I'm like, yeah, score one for the old guys. Now, Darren Till versus Whitaker. I'm picking Whitaker in this one. Is anyone picking Till? James?
It's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. it depends on what the odds are like. If the odds are in, like if Till's a decent underdog, or even say 2-1 underdog, I'll throw some money on him.
No, but who do you think's going to win? Not whether or not you're going to win money.
That's why you fucking bet, man. That's the point of betting, is playing the odds, bro.
But we're not talking about betting. We're talking about who you think's going to win the fight, not whether or not you're going to.
I don't know, man. I don't know, dude. It's close. To me, it's a pick 'em. I don't know.
Case?
Dude, it is a close fight. So I mean, like, you know, from an analytical point, I don't really know. But from a personal standpoint, I'm going to go with the Aussie and pick Whitaker.
Yeah. Me too. And finally, Shogun versus Little Nog. This is like a bare knuckle boxing fight or something, but they're still fighting.
Yeah, it's a throwback. Throwback Thursday.
Yeah, like fucking. But I mean, I guess
Hell
Shogun,
yeah.
right? Shogun,
Vintage.
right?
Are they really fighting bare knuckle?
No, I'm kidding. I'm just saying it should be a bare knuckle fight.
It is an MMA fight, right?
All right. Different one. Randy Brown versus Vicente Luque. That should be a good fight.
I like Vicente.
Yeah, a little more experience, right?
Yeah, higher level competition and more tools.
What about Derek Brunson versus Edmond? That guy Edmond, who's undefeated, who's just been fucking everyone up.
He trains with Edmond Tarverdian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the young kid, right? I like him. I like him over Brunson.
I want Brunson to win. I do. Although he did tweet something that him and that guy Ali Abdulaziz were wrestling in the bed yesterday. Because Ali was like, Ali put up like, name someone who I tapped, and then in grappling, and then Derek was like, you didn't tap me, and he goes, then Ali goes, we were in bed together, and then all these memes fucking came up, which made my Sunday. I was like, wrestling in bed. Everyone was like, pause.
Yeah.
Well, listen, both you guys. Johnny Case, it was your birthday yesterday, right? Johnny?
That's right. Yeah.
What did you get for your birthday?
Yep. It was. Really drunk.
You got really drunk. All right.
Nice. Well done.
Yeah.
James
Then
Vick.
I also celebrated your birthday yesterday.
Well, Vic, I can't wait to see you back in the octagon. You're one of my favorite fighters, dude. You know that. Johnny Case, PFL. Fuck yeah, man. Win that $1 million. All right, get that million.
Hell yeah.
Greg Wilson, thank you. Guys, thanks for coming on the show.
All right, later, guys. Thank you.
I appreciate you guys. Take care, guys.
My pleasure.
Thank you.